Surrender. That is the only way to survive the life you built. I spent 90 years being a hostage to my own ambition. I was a good man. I was a provider. I was a winner. And every one of those titles was just another noose tightening around my throat while the world cheered. You've been sold a biological lie. They told you that if you just tried harder, you'd finally hit the frequency of happiness. But look at the people at the top of the mountain. They are the most medicated and miserable people on earth. I found the exit, and it didn't require effort. It required a complete and total execution of everything I thought I was. In this audit, I'm going to show you why your persistence is actually a form of mental illness. I'm going to reveal the exact moment I stopped trying to be someone, and why that was the only day my heart rate finally slowed down. By the end of this video, you will realize that giving up isn't a sign of weakness. It's the only predatory strategy that actually works in a rigged system. You want to be happy? Then you need to learn how to lose. Stop sleeping, and let's burn the fortress down. Let me tell you what nobody who has ever given a commencement speech will say. Not the billionaires, not the motivational speakers with the stadium tours and the matching tracksuits, not the retired generals writing books about discipline at 5 in the morning. None of them will say this, because if they said it, the entire industry collapses. The entire machine, the self-help machine, the hustle machine, the become the best version of yourself machine. It requires one thing to keep running. It requires you to believe you are not enough yet. And the moment you stop believing that, the moment you actually genuinely, in your bones, stop believing that the current version of you is a rough draft, the machine dies. And they cannot allow that. So they won't tell you what I'm about to tell you. But I am 90 years old. I have already cost them everything they were going to get from me. So I have absolutely nothing to lose by telling you the truth. Here is the first thing I need you to understand. And this is the thing that is going to make you uncomfortable before it makes you free. Your ambition is not yours. I know how that sounds. I know the voice in your head is already pushing back. My drive is authentic. My goals are mine. I chose this path. You didn't. You inherited it. You inherited it from a father who inherited it from his father, from a culture that decided somewhere in the Industrial Revolution that a man's value is precisely equal to his output, from a school system that ranked you against other children before you were old enough to understand what ranking meant, from an advertising industry that has spent 100 years engineering a specific, persistent, monetizable feeling of inadequacy in every person who encounters it. You were handed a hunger that was never yours, and you have been feeding it your entire life. Not because feeding it makes you happy, but because stopping, just putting the food down and stepping back from the table feels like dying. And I need to tell you why it feels like dying, because this is where it gets biological. This is where it stops being philosophy and starts being something happening inside your body right now as you watch this. The hunger has a mechanism, and once I show it to you, you cannot unsee it. Your brain, the specific part of your brain that drives ambition, that generates a feeling of not yet, not enough, keep going, does not actually know what it is working toward. It does not have a destination. It has a direction. always forward, always more, always the next level. The neuroscience on this is unambiguous, and almost nobody talks about it in this context. The reward system in your brain is not designed to make you feel good when you arrive. It is designed to make you feel motivated while you are moving. The arrival kills the feeling. The arrival is supposed to kill the feeling. That is the biological mechanism working exactly as intended, so that you immediately begin moving toward the next thing. Your brain is not broken when you achieve something and feel empty. Your brain is working perfectly. You are just being used by it instead of using it. And the people who figured this out, the ones who quietly, completely, without announcement stepped off the treadmill, did not become less. They did not shrink. They did not disappear into mediocrity the way the machine tells you they will. They became the most genuinely alive people I have ever encountered. And I need to tell you what they look like, because you have been trained to mistake them for failures. I want to tell you about the most dangerous man I ever met. He was 63. He had been a lawyer, a very successful one, for 30 years. Corner office, named partner, the kind of reputation that walks into a room before you do. One morning he did not go to work, not because he was sick, not because something happened. He simply decided, with the clarity of a man who has been lying to himself for just long enough, that he was done. He called no one. He filed no paperwork that day. He drove instead to a lake about 40 minutes from his house that he had been meaning to visit for 11 years. He sat at that lake for 6 hours. He told me later, and this is a thing I want you to hear very carefully. He told me that sitting at that lake was the first time in 30 years that his mind had been genuinely quiet, not tired, not distracted, not medicated into approximating peace. Quiet. And in that quiet, he said, he noticed something that had been there the entire time, but that the noise had been successfully drowning out. He was happy, not from achieving anything, not from completing anything, not from being recognized or compensated or admired, just happy, sitting at a lake, doing nothing that the world could measure or monetize or admire. And here's the part that I need you to sit with. He lost almost everything over the next 2 years. The partnership, the income, the identity, the respect of colleagues who interpreted his departure as either breakdown or cowardice. And he did not go back, not because he was stubborn, not because he was making a point, because nothing they took from him was as valuable as what he found at that lake. And he is, and I have known this man for 15 years now, he is the least anxious human being I have ever been in a room with. Now I want to tell you about the ones who didn't leave, because this is the part the machine really does not want to talk about. I have watched men, brilliant, capable, admired men, stay on the treadmill past the point where the treadmill was giving them anything, not because they loved what they were doing, because they were terrified of what they would find if they stopped. And here is what they were actually terrified of: not failure, not poverty, not irrelevance, themselves, the specific, unmedicated, unoccupied, fully present version of themselves that exists when there is no title to hide behind, no meeting to attend, no goal to point as evidence that your life has direction and meaning, the self that exists in the silence. That self is what they were running from. And the treadmill was the most sophisticated avoidance mechanism ever invented because it looks like ambition. It looks like discipline. It looks like the behavior of a successful person. It is socially rewarded. It is publicly admired. And it is, at the level I am describing, a clinical avoidance of the one conversation you most need to have with yourself, in the quiet, without the noise. Here is where I tell you something that will make half of you close this video. And I say that not as a threat, as a filter, because what I'm about to say is only useful to the people who are ready to hear it. And the people who aren't ready, they'll leave, and that's fine. And maybe they'll come back in 3 years when the treadmill has taken more from them. What I'm about to say is this. Giving up is a skill, not a feeling, not a failure, not a surrender in the military sense where you lay down your arms and accept defeat. A skill, a learnable, practicable, deeply sophisticated cognitive skill that is harder to develop than any productivity system you have ever tried. Because productivity systems go with your brain's existing wiring. Giving up, in the specific sense I mean, goes against everything your reward system, your social conditioning, your identity structure, and your fear of irrelevance have been building for your entire life. It is the hardest thing a driven person can do, and it is the only thing that actually works. Let me tell you what it actually is, because giving up is the wrong framing, and I know it, and I'm using it deliberately because the right framing would let your brain file this away as something comfortable and non-threatening, and you would nod and close the video and feel like you understood something without anything actually changing. The right word is dissolution. The giving up I am describing is the dissolution of a specific fiction. The fiction that the restlessness you feel is a signal pointing towards something external that will resolve it. More money, more recognition, a better position, the right relationship, the number in the account that finally crosses the threshold. The title on the door that finally confirms what you always suspected about yourself, that you were worth something. That fiction, the one your brain has been generating, sustaining, and protecting from examination for your entire adult life. Because if that fiction is real, if the external thing will finally fix the internal feeling, then you have direction, you have purpose, you have a reason to get up and keep moving. But if the fiction is false, if the restlessness is not a signal pointing outward, but a symptom of something that no external achievement can touch, then everything you have organized your life around is built on nothing. And that is the thought your brain will do almost anything to avoid thinking, including keeping you very, very busy. I quit on a Tuesday. Nothing dramatic. No announcement. No exit interview with the universe. I had been sitting with the idea for 3 years before I finally let it land. 3 years of circling it, poking at it, finding reasons why it wasn't the right time, why I owed it to other people keep performing, why the discomfort I felt was probably something else and not the thing I suspected it was. And then one Tuesday morning I stopped arguing with it. I just stopped. And here is what I want to tell you about the hours immediately after. Nothing changed. The world continued. Traffic happened. Somewhere, someone was in a meeting. The economy performed its operations. Nothing collapsed because I stopped pushing, but something happened in my body, a physical thing, specific and unmistakable. The tension I had been carrying in my chest which I had normalized so completely that I no longer noticed it the way you stop noticing a sound when it's been there long enough. That tension released, not gradually, not over weeks, in an afternoon, like a fist unclenching that had been closed for 30 years. And the sensation of that unclenching is what I have spent the last years trying to find a language for. Because it is not happiness exactly. It is older than happiness. It is the thing underneath happiness, the ground floor, the thing that happiness is built on when it is the real kind. It is the feeling of being correctly located in your own life. And now I need to tell you the thing they will never put on a poster. The thing that does not make for a good quote graphic or a 30-second reel or a book title. The freedom I am describing is not available at the top of the mountain. It is available at the moment you stop believing the mountain is the point. Not halfway up, not near the summit, not after you have achieved enough to feel you have earned the right to rest. Right now, wherever you currently are, whatever you currently have or haven't done, the freedom is not a reward at the end of the process. The freedom is a perception shift that is available the moment you decide, not intellectually agree with, but decide in the part of you that makes actual decisions, that the story you have been living is a story, not the truth. A story, one that was handed to you by people who were themselves handed it by people who didn't choose it either. And like all stories, it can be put down. Not abandoned in the sense of irresponsibility, not discarded in the sense of nihilism. Put down, the way you put down a bag you've been carrying so long you forgot it wasn't your body. I need to tell you what you're actually afraid of, not failure. You've already failed things and survived it, not poverty. Most of you reading this are not in genuine danger of poverty. That is not the fear keeping you on the treadmill. What you are actually afraid of is this, that if you stop, if the performance stops, if the titles fall away, if the busyness ceases and the calendar clears and the noise finally dies down, what if there is no one there? What if underneath the ambition and the drive and the identity constructed from achievement, what if it's just you? Without the credentials, without the title, without the carefully managed reputation, and the carefully maintained appearance of someone who is going somewhere. Just you. And what if that's not enough? That is the real fear. And I need to tell you something about that fear that nobody in the productivity space will say, because it is bad for sales. That fear is the proof. The fact that you are afraid of what you'll find in the quiet is the most precise possible evidence that the quiet is exactly where you need to go. Because what you will find there is not nothing. It is everything that the noise has been covering. Here is my final confession. I do not miss any of it. Not the title, not the recognition, not the income that came with performing at the level I performed at for the years I performed at it. I do not miss a single day of it. What I miss, and this is the one honest grief I carry, is the years I spent building towards something that was never going to give me what I was building toward it for. Not the building. The years. Those years were my life. The actual irreversible substance of my existence. And I spent them on a fiction. And if I could reach through this screen and put my hand on your shoulder and tell you one thing, not the productive thing, not the responsible thing, not the thing your financial advisor or your mentor or your ambitious friends would endorse, just the truth, it would be this. The day you give up on the version of yourself you've been trying to become is going to be the best day of your life. Not because you will have less, because you will finally, for the first time, have exactly what was always actually there. Yourself, uncurated, unoptimized, unperforming. Just a person, just a life, just this. And this, I promise you, from the far end of 90 years, this is more than enough. It was always more than enough. You just couldn't hear it over the noise.